Hey guys, Amy here with Leap of Faith Crafting. Thanks so much for stopping by. So today we're going to be making these cute wood ornament hangers. So I personalized them because I'm making them for a small group for Christmas party favors, but really quick and easy project. I'm going to be using my WeCreat Vista, which I love. It's my newest laser engraving machine in my craft room here that WeCreat sent me. So my last video, we engraved a full 40-ounce Stanley. You can check that out if you haven't seen it. But today we are going to be cutting wood. Definitely probably one of the easier projects if you are a beginner. So these are so fun to make and so cute. And people are always so impressed by them. And they're like, wow, you're so talented. I can't believe you made that. And you're like, I just pushed a few buttons and my machine did all the work. So really, I'm amazed how much this kind of compact machine is doing for me. Again, the tumblers, we're going to be making these wood signs, and then we're also going to be engraving the ornaments in another video. I will link all these below for you to check those out. But for this, all we're going to be using is just some basswood and then the WeCreat Vista. One of the great things about the Vista, as you can see when we open it up, it is pretty compact for a laser engraving machine. So this is the 10 watt of the machine, and you can also get an infrared head too for engraving metals and things like that if you want, but we're just going to be using the 10 watt. And the great thing about this machine is you can flip it forward to engrave things on the rotary like we did when we did that the Stanley tumbler. I have my grates in here, and then I just put a piece of foil below them, just it makes for easier cleanup because it does get kind of sticky once this cuts through the basswood. So the fun thing about this one is if you have other machines or if you've seen other ones, usually the camera is kind of right in the middle of that, and that gives some distortion when you close it, kind of the fisheye thing on the very edges. But this camera, it's hard to see, is actually up in here. So it needs the lid open when we put in the wood. So it actually gets a real accurate kind of position of where the wood is. So I am going to grab one of my pieces of basswood here. We're just going to lay it in the machine here. And again, we're going to need the lid open when we go over to the laptop. But this is really all you need when we're making these. Just a piece of wood, the machine, really the machine does all the work. So I will leave the link below of where I got the file from. You can grab that if you want to make some of these too. And we're going to jump into the WeCreat Make It software and start cutting these out.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open our WeCreat Make It software. So this is the canvas here, and you'll see I'm on my WeCreat. I have my laser flat because we're going to be doing just a flat piece of basswood. And so I'm just going to go ahead and import the image of the tree. So when I click on import, I have this downloaded, and I will link this below of where I got it. I'm going to open it up, and in this one there's a bunch of different thicknesses. I'm not quite sure why, but I am doing the 3mm thickness. And then I'm going to click on mine, that's the SVG. So I'm on a PC with a Microsoft Edge, so that's what comes up as my SVG. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. And you can see when it comes in, there's two different options for the tree to use, the base, and then it has this for if you want to make like a picture ornament or something like that, cut it out of wood and make it, but we're not going to do that. So I'm going to come up and actually see if these are ungrouped. They're already ungrouped. So I'm just going to keep one of these circles as kind of a reference guide. So I'm just going to move it over here. I'm going to drag my cursor around all of these and just hit my backspace button. Actually, and it didn't get rid of these two. I'm going to delete those. And then I am going to be using this tree right here. So I'm actually going to delete off of this. Okay, so when it comes in here, you'll see if I click on it over on this layers panel that right now it says line engrave. So a lot of them come in that way, but we actually want this on cut. Actually, we want everything on cut. So I'm just going to drag my cursor over all of this and click on cut. And you'll see that all of this turns red. So I know that's on cut. And so all of these are actually individual right now, but I want to go ahead and just make sure they stay together. So again, I'm going to click down on my mouse, drag my cursor around this whole thing, and I'm going to hit group up here. So now that at least it's all grouped and I can move it around without having to worry about it. Same thing with this. I'm going to go ahead and group this together. Okay, so I am going to make this a little bit smaller right now. It's about 7.8. The ornaments I'm working with are 2.5. So I'm just going to change this to a 2.5 inch bulb, kind of move it in here. And then I'm going to select both of these. So I'm changing both of them together. I'm just going to drag down the size a little bit and kind of get that. Oops, I don't want the green one in there. Drag it kind of down to where I think I like it with that size. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at about 7 inches taller. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that off now. So this is just going to be my ball that's going to be hanging in there. Okay, so I have everything on cut, and you'll see over here, I'm going to go into my material, and I'm actually going to click on basswood and then on 3mm and hit confirm. So that will change that. And so both of them, if I click on this, you'll see it says 3mm. This, it's on 3mm. Okay, so if you want to add a name to anything or any kind of text, I'm going to go ahead and click on my text box over here on that left side. Click on my canvas to drag it on. Then I'm going to type in couples group 2024 since I'm making this for our church group. And then I'm going to come up and change the font. I'm just going to pick one so I can kind of show you how to do it. I'm going to come up to the line here and do it center. And then my line space, and I actually want to drop it down. Okay, and then I'm going to change this to fill engrave. So over here, if I keep it on line engrave, it's going to go around the outside and keep kind of just the outline. So that's up to you. If you want to do that, you can do that. I'm going to go to fill engrave so it actually fills that in. And I can click on this down here and I can pick how dark I want that engraving. So let's say I want it here. So that's going to be 80 power, 200 speed. I'm going to click on that. You can see that it changes my speed. If I go back, it has all of these in here already. Okay, so I'm going to, actually I need to weld. I don't know if this welds or not. I'm going to hit this welding button just to make sure that there's no lines that makes it into one complete stroke. So I'm just going to make this smaller here. Drag it down on here. Kind of size it how I want. Try to get it centered. Okay, and then when I have all that, that is set on that fill engrave, and then the rest of it's on the cut. I'm actually just going to drag my cursor around here and click on group, just so I can move this around and change it when I put my wood in here and it doesn't move. Okay, so now I have my two images I am going to cut out. Okay, we are going to head over to the machine, add our wood into it, and switch to my laptop.
Okay, so now we're over on my laptop. I just have to switch between my computers for filming purposes, but we're on here. So I have my tree and the stand that we did. I'm going to go ahead and hit refresh on here. And this will show exactly where my wood is in my machine. And then I'm just going to move this I'm gonna move it somewhere so we're not trying not to waste too much wood here. And I kind of actually want to get the top of the wood, so I'm going to move it in my machine and hit refresh, just so now I can see actually where the top of it is, just so I know how far I can go up there with this to get in as much wood as I can. Again, I'm going to move that back over. So just making sure we have all of our settings. So for this one, it's on the cut, it's on the 3mm wood, on our, ungroup that for a second. So on our couples, we have our fill engrave. Okay, so now that we have everything ready, we can hit the material preview if we want, and it just shows us exactly where it is on our thing. That's the material preview right there. So I have everything. Okay, we are gonna go ahead and hit start. We got that there. We're gonna go ahead and hit send, and you can see it says it's gonna be about 8 minutes. So we're gonna have to send. It's gonna tell us to, so we're gonna go ahead and close our lid and push that button. Okay, so you can see on my machine that I got it processing complete, and I can push complete on there. Okay, just gonna let the fans go off so you can hear me again. So I left my camera going through the entire time this time, obviously sped it up so you could see just how smooth and effortless this goes. I didn't pause it or anything. And then when we take this out, voila, nothing there. So these come out. Okay, so there is one side of our tree, and the other side, this has the air assist already installed on it, and I just left it on. So we don't have any charm marks. And then this with our engrave, this engraving I did a little bit lower than our other ones, so it's not quite as dark, but that is fine. I like that look. So you could always paint these, stain them, do whatever. If you're going to paint them, I would recommend you paint the wood before you cut it out and let it dry. Staining you could do afterwards. Okay, so now that we have these, you just put those in there. A little bit tricky, but there we go. So we have that stand in there. So super cute, right? I made a bunch of them for all the couples in our group. And then I'm going to work on making the rest of these ornaments that I hung out. And so if you want to see the ornament tutorial, I will link that below and you can check that out. So very beginner friendly project. I love cutting wood out of my WeCreat engraving machine that just cuts beautifully and so precise. So the Vista is a great machine for the price of it. It cuts some great things. Again, like I said, I've gotten full wrap tumblers. I'm making these, gonna do the ornaments. So fun. It's a great machine, great thing to add on to any wish list if you are thinking about getting into kind of elevating your crafts and your gifts and things like that up a little bit. Okay, so make sure you hit that subscribe and like button below so you don't miss any more tutorials. And thanks so much for stopping by.